This week at the Video Game History Foundation, we're kicking off a celebration of E3. The Electronic Entertainment Expo was the event for the game industry in the United States for over 20 years. And now, thanks to some new materials in our digital archive, we're taking you closer to the event than you've ever been before. E3, which ran from 1995 to 2019, has become renowned as a marketing spectacle for video games at a scale and expense that we will probably never see again. But before E3, the big event for the game industry in North America was the Consumer Electronics Show, which is not a video game event. The main purpose of CES was to show off devices like televisions, sound systems, and cameras, which might have made sense for video games to join in on in the 80s, but by 1995, the US game industry had outgrown its original home, and it was time for them to have an event of their own.
There was a lot of frustration with the current situation vis-a-vis trade shows. Consumer Electronics Show had two shows, one in January in Las Vegas, which was their big main show, and one in Chicago in the spring. And the industry, largely because of the game cycle, would mostly be at CES in Chicago. The problem was they were out in tents. They really were not part of the core show in the main showroom. They were relegated to a fairly sort of secondary placement that at the time, the industry players felt really wasn't reflective of their growth and their impact on consumer entertainment.
The video game companies are outside with the refrigerators. I heard that over and over again. Well, we're out with the refrigerators. For some reason, that really stuck with me. So that was it was always a big discussion in the industry. They always felt like they were being treated poorly.
And there was a real desire on the part of the industry to kind of break out of that perception. And so for some people, having our own show was a sort of a defining way to position the industry as an independent force in the world of global entertainment.
You know, between, like Doug said, between the formation of the association and the fact that IDG came up with a proposal, it was pretty much serendipitous that the industry would move on and start its own event.
That's Doug Lowenstein and Carolyn Rausch, the founding members of the Interactive Digital Software Association. Together with event director Mary Dollaher, they ran E3 for the first decade. Last year, Carolyn came to us with a substantial donation of material from the history of E3, the event itself, from the early years through the 2000s. It's basically everything they printed to promote the event. Flyers, media kits, programs, guidebooks, postcards, transcripts, photographs, everything from a complimentary guest pass for E3 2011 to a sales kit from E3 99 breaking down the attendance of E3 and telling you exactly how much it cost to put your ad on the side of the coffee cups that year. For the record, it was $20,000. We spent the first part of this year digitizing this new collection, and now it's ready to share. But we figured let's make a celebration out of it. So today, we're opening multiple new collections about the history of E3 in our digital archive. The Carolyn Rausch collection, containing over 1,000 pages of E3 ephemera. The Anthony Parisi collection, with around 12 hours of video footage from E3's 95 to 98, plus the 95 Winter CES that came right before. And new scans of E3 Show Daily, the daily magazine that was handed out at the event. We've also completed our collection of E3 guidebooks, totaling 2,500 pages of booth listings, schedules, and maps. We are very aware of how interested people are in the history of E3. We've been on YouTube, we've seen all the videos that maybe people like you have made about E3 before. Well, there has never been more depth of material for researching the history of E3 than what you can find in our digital archive today. Let's take all of those collections we just talked about and put them in conversation with each other to show you what we're talking about. From the Anthony Parisi tapes, we found this clip of somebody playing the fighting game Tobal No. 1 on the show floor at E3 1996. It's pretty cool, and we knew we had seen this somewhere before. In Carolyn's collection, we spotted this photo of the same Tobal booth. This is from a series of photos that were all taken around the same place at different angles. We can see that Tobal was being shown off at Sony's booth next to their sports games, which was right across from Microprose and a little ways down from Psygnosis. If we piece all of that together and look at the map in the 1996 guidebook, we can determine exactly where Tobal number 1 was being shown and what angle that video was taken at. Now, is this really necessary? Well, who can say? We know there are people who have been trying to forensically reconstruct parts of E3, but doing this level of research on E3 was practically impossible before now. And that's why we are so excited to bring you these new collections. E3 is really the story of the game industry coming into its own, figuring out what it was and who it was for. By preserving all these different materials, we're making it possible for anyone, from fans to academic researchers, to tell that story yourselves.
To me, the story of E3 in the 90s is really a story about an industry beginning to be taken more seriously, beginning to get the floor space or the respect that it deserved. You know, I was able to witness huge games get unveiled for the first time. I was able to talk to developers that I, never would have had a chance to interact with otherwise, and just conduct hundreds of interviews over the years. And it was a great time. And those 90s shows were amazing. New hardware, a big transition to PlayStation, to the N64, to the Saturn, like seeing all that stuff happen, seeing the 3DO kind of phase out and everything. Like, it was a very tumultuous time there in th4 or 5 years of the show. And it was amazing to be able to be there and witness it. So I'm very happy to be able to dig through some of this material. I have some of it around here somewhere, I think. But I'm really looking forward to digging through what the Video Game History Foundation has dug up for all these years of E3.
Everything we have shown you today is free for you to access in our digital archive thanks to your support for the Video Game History Foundation. There is so much more we wanted to show you that we couldn't fit in here, so you can look forward to more videos in the near future about our E3 collections and some of the incredible things we found. And check out the Video Game History Hour podcast, where we sat down with Carolyn Rausch and Doug Lowenstein to learn more about the origins of E3.
If you never were there, it's almost hard to describe what an overwhelmed the senses.
You had to be there, is all I can say. It was amazing.
But for now, we wanted to leave you with one little surprise. One of the tapes we digitized was this 1997 video press kit from Nintendo containing footage of their upcoming games. We know how important pre-release game footage is, so we digitized this tape at the best possible quality using our modified high-end VHS capture setup. And now we present, in the best quality ever seen, a solid minute and a half of gameplay from the unreleased Conker's Quest as seen at E3 1997. We'll see you again soon for another deep dive into E3.